Moments ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Sydney touchdown. This is the breaking news coming in. Australia envoy Dosti message coming in for India. The Australian envoy says engagement underlines enthusiasm. They go on to say that they are committed to Australia-India ties. So this is the latest coming in. Vishal Monga is joining us live from Sydney in Australia. Vishal, you know, moments before the touchdown of the Prime Minister's Sydney visit, this is a bonhomie message coming in from the Australian envoy. What more can you add to the story?
Yes, indeed. What I can tell you is right now I'm standing outside Shangri-La Hotel where Prime Minister Modi is expected to stay right now. If you see behind me, there are a lot of people who have gathered here. These are people from Indian diaspora who have gathered here and they're here to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I'll talk to some of the people. So you all are here. What are your plans for tomorrow when Narendra Modi will be going to Sydney Olympic Station?
Well, we are going from a Sydney Science School. We are going as a big group. And some of us were fortunate enough to be there in 2014, but many of the children were not born there. So they're all eagerly looking forward to it, and they're performing in Sanskrit because Modi ji had even mentioned about a school in one of the Mann Ki Baats, and maybe we could get a selfie with them. We don't know.
Yeah. So what are your expectations?
So our expectations are we need to meet him. He's a visionary and our kids should get the blessings from him. And he has done a beautiful plans for Sanskrit development. So our kids are eagerly waiting to see him. Yeah.
So once you see Prime Minister Modi, what do you plan to tell him? Will you greet him?
Yes.
So what will you say?
You say. Yeah, one.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी वर्याः सिडनी महानगरं प्रति स्वागतं सुस्वागतम्.
So indeed, you've heard these people. They've gathered here in large number, and they're expected to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They've come here in large number, and tomorrow at the Sydney Olympic Station, it is expected that around 20,000 people would be here to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi because of the increasing cultural ties between India and Australia.
No, absolutely. And once Prime Minister Narendra Modi lands there in Sydney, Vishal, what's on the agenda for the Prime Minister?
See, indeed, when Prime Minister Modi lands in Australia tomorrow, he has a lot of meetings with the CEOs of various group of companies. Then he's meeting a lot of people. At 5 o'clock, he's going to a mega event at Sydney Olympic Park, where large gathering of Indian diaspora, not only from Sydney, but from Melbourne, from Perth, and a lot of people have come from various cities of Australia to Sydney to greet Prime Minister Modi. They've planned a superstar level welcome from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And what I can tell you is that I've been talking to people since morning. I was at Arif Park. I was talking to the shopkeepers. They say that they want to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he has really made them proud in Australia and across the world.
Absolutely. And you know, I just want to take a moment right there, Vishal, and tell our viewers about the various nations that he has visited and the kind of respect that he's got in across the board with these nations. And not just that, you have a US President Joe Biden heaping praises to at Prime Minister Modi, and now the Australian Prime Minister is also looking forward to welcome him. Speaks a lot about how India is being put on the global map.
Yes, indeed. Not only the Australian Prime Minister, the American Prime Minister also had a lot of good words for Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he went to this tour of Papua New Guinea. There also the Prime Minister had a lot of praise for Narendra Modi. Here also you see a lot of people have gathered here, and what I can tell you is that there is a lot of bonhomie that is amongst the Indian diaspora who have gathered here at large number outside Shangri-La Hotel, and they're expected to be there at the Sydney Olympic Stadium tomorrow, where there'll be a large gathering of Indians. And what I can tell you is that not only from Sydney, but several cities, people have flown over to Sydney to see Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This event is happening after 8 long years. Now, when Prime Minister Modi had come in earlier, there was a lot of people, but indeed the craze has grown over the time. I've been talking to people, they say that they want Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be the goodwill ambassador of ties between India and Australia, so that India and Australia can be strategic partners against China, because China is a big threat to Australia also.
You know, Vishal, continue to be with us right there. I'm going to come back to you for more on Prime Minister Modi's Australian visit. Prime Minister Modi, just for our viewers to know, has concluded the action-packed Papua New Guinea visit, and he is, as we just mentioned, on his way to Australia. The Australian Prime Minister Albanese said that he's honoured to host Prime Minister Modi and emphasised how the two countries share a commitment to a stable, secure and prosperous Indo-Pacific. Indians in Australia are all set to host a grand community reception for Prime Minister Modi in Sydney. The Prime Minister left for Australia in the third and the final leg of his three-nation tour after concluding his visit to Papua New Guinea, where he co-hosted the first FIPIC Summit. The Prime Minister was conferred with top honours for championing the cause of unity of Pacific Island countries in Papua New Guinea. Not just this, Prime Minister was conferred with a Companion of the Order for Fiji for his global leadership. Only a handful of non-Fijians have received this honour till date.
Relationship between India and Australia culturally, in terms of migration movement, in terms of business in particular, is a vital connection that needs to be made. We are, of course, a part of the Quad deal. We have a free trade agreement with India. We move an enormous amount of trade. I think it's really important to reflect on the value of dealing with not only the largest population in the world, but also an economy that's moving towards the largest in the world. This is vital for all sectors of our industry. It's a really important, really valuable connection that we have with India and the Indian community.
Well, he has a very substantive round of bilateral discussions with Prime Minister Albanese. We'll be following up on discussions that went on when Prime Minister Albanese was in India 2 months ago in March. We expect some outcomes and announcements that I'm sure the media will hear about going forward.
We are so much excited. I mean, obviously, the Prime Minister Modi is coming to Australia, visiting. Obviously, they're going to interact with our Indian community here. We are very much fortunate and excited, actually, to meet him. We'll go down to the arena. It's really good progress, what he has done to the country, and obviously India-Australia relationships. So yeah, we are very much proud of him.